In this presentation, you will explore client presentations, principles of communication during client meetings. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to plan for a client meeting, describe the elements of an effective face-to-face meeting, and conclude and document the meeting. As discussed in the client communication video, the CFP Financial Planning Practice Standard 400-3 states, the financial planning practitioner shall communicate the recommendation or recommendations in a manner and to an extent reasonably necessary to assist the client in making an informed decision. Often the planning recommendations are presented during a face-to-face meeting. Let's examine important issues in planning for and conducting these meetings. In preparing for your client meeting, it's important to create a safe, comfortable meeting environment that is conducive to learning and sharing, to establish the time parameters for the meeting, to decide on your agenda, and make arrangements that ensure the meeting will not be interrupted. When formulating the agenda, make sure to factor in some flexibility so that you can address any issues that the client is motivated to talk about on that day. Also, leave enough time for client feedback and a summarization of what has been discussed. 4 key elements of an effective presentation are listed on the slide. 1. A logical flow. 2. A meeting that's conversational and conducted in an engaging tone. 3. Simplify enough to clarify. And 4. Communicate the client's story and address their prioritized goals. Let's explore these in a little more detail. Each presentation should have a logical flow that generally proceeds from welcoming the client and making them feel welcome, acknowledged, to explaining the agenda for the meeting, moving through that agenda, or moving through the planning areas, and then summarizing and documenting the meeting. The idea is to plan a useful, flowing meeting that doesn't completely overwhelm the client. Client meetings should be collaborative. Strive for that interactive session. Be authentic. Never read from a script. Engage with your clients in an encouraging manner, even when talking about those challenging situations. There's a big difference between being proactive and dealing with where the client is today versus shaming them regarding how they got themselves into this current situation. In making client presentations, you must always strive for clarity. Technical talk doesn't always impress. More often, it tends to confuse. So leave out those abbreviations and industry jargon. Find that balance between complexity and simplicity, and between too much detail and not enough detail. Adapt to your client's experience and their knowledge of financial planning. We know that people retain and process information communicated to them in different ways. For some, the best method of delivery is auditory. For others, it's seeing the material or working with it, such as hands-on assignments. Try using a combination of these learning preferences when making presentations to new clients. Once the client's preferences are known, then future presentations can be customized for them. Remember that the presentation needs to be personalized. Refer to their children by name. Make sure that the clients hear their stories as you discuss your recommendations. In the end, emotion is needed in decision making. Cognition is never enough. Create that mental image of the children walking up onto the graduation stage in college. Or create that picture of the couple living that retirement in a lifestyle that they want. Connect the consequences of action or inaction to your planning recommendations as it relates to attainment of personal goals. This slide creates a very creative application that may appeal to you and promote clarity for the visual client. financial planner Elizabeth Bowie, CFP, requires all of her financial planners and associate financial planners in the office to draw client financial summaries or life maps. This drawing contains data, graphics, and text. However, in combination, the visual creates an executive summary that communicates the client's situation in total simplicity. This is an example of how creative communication can differentiate you from your competition. You'll probably want to incorporate PowerPoint slides into your presentation. So here are a few rules of thumb to remember. Limit the number of bullet points and text on any one slide. Incorporate high quality graphics, charts, graphs, and tables that help to clarify. Find that right amount of detail. Consider your use of color, font type, and font size. And leave considerable white space, which will help make the slide feel less overwhelming. Remember, you and the client are the focal point of the meeting. The slides only offer support and offer structure for your conversation with the client. Before concluding the presentation, it's important to clarify what was discussed and eliminate any ambiguities. Summarize the points of the meeting. Ask if there's anything at all that needs explaining. Make sure that everyone is clear about the action plan, about who's responsible for doing what. Confirm that everyone understands and agrees with the plan. In this lesson, you learned about planning for a client meeting, the elements of an effective face-to-face meeting, and concluding and documenting the meeting.